Turkey, a country bridging two continents, exhibits a striking diversity in culture, history, and geography. However, one of the most pressing issues that has shaped the country's development narrative is the socioeconomic disparity between its eastern and western regions. This divergence in development and welfare has persisted for decades, rooted in a complex interplay of historical, geographical, social, and economic factors. Understanding these differences is crucial not only for grasping the current challenges, but also for shaping policies aimed at fostering equitable growth. The historical evolution of Turkey's regions has played a significant role in shaping their current levels of development. Western part, including cities like Istanbul, Izmir, and Bursa, has long been the hub of commerce, industry, and international trade. During the Ottoman Empire, these areas were vital centers of administration and economic activity, benefiting from proximity to Europe and access to maritime trade routes. In contrast, eastern part, with its rugged terrain and distance from major trade routes, remained largely agrarian and tribal. The region's development was further hindered by historical conflicts, including tribal disputes and geopolitical tensions. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire and the subsequent establishment of the Republic in 1923 marked a shift in focus towards modernization, but this modernization was disproportionately concentrated in the western regions. Consequently, the developmental gap between the two regions widened. Geography has significantly influenced the development disparity. Western part benefits from a temperate climate, fertile lands, and access to the Aegean and Marmara Seas, making it ideal for agriculture, tourism, and industrial activities. The region's relatively flat terrain has facilitated the development of infrastructure, such as roads, railways, and ports, further boosting economic growth. In contrast, eastern part's mountainous terrain and harsher climate pose challenges for infrastructure development and agricultural productivity. These geographical barriers have led to relative isolation, limiting the region's integration into national and global markets. Additionally, eastern part has a higher population growth rate and a younger demographic, which, while a potential asset, also places pressure on limited resources and infrastructure. The economic divide between the East and West is perhaps the most visible aspect of the disparity. Western Turkey is home to the country's economic powerhouses, contributing significantly to the national GDP. For example, Istanbul is not only Turkey's largest city, but also its financial and cultural center. The region attracts substantial domestic and foreign investment, fostering industries such as manufacturing, technology, and tourism. On the other side, Eastern Turkey remains predominantly reliant on agriculture and animal husbandry sectors that are often vulnerable to market fluctuations and climate conditions. Industrialization in the East has been limited, with few large-scale enterprises. Unemployment rates are higher and income levels are significantly lower compared to the West. This economic disparity is also reflected in access to services such as banking, education, and healthcare, which are more developed in the Western regions. Education is a cornerstone of development, and the gap in educational attainment between Eastern and Western Turkey is stark. Western Turkey boasts higher literacy rates and better access to quality educational institutions. Universities, research centers, and vocational training facilities are concentrated in the West, providing greater opportunities for skill development and employment. In Eastern Turkey, educational attainment levels are lower, and access to schools, particularly in rural areas, is limited. Factors such as poverty, cultural norms, and the need for children to contribute to household income often hinder school attendance. Girls face additional barriers to education, perpetuating cycles of inequality. Healthcare is another area where disparities are evident. Western Turkey benefits from well-equipped hospitals, a higher density of healthcare professionals, and better health outcomes. In Eastern Turkey, healthcare facilities are often underfunded and understaffed, with residents facing challenges in accessing essential services. These inequalities contribute to higher rates of infant mortality, malnutrition, and preventable diseases in the East. Social and cultural differences also play a role in the development gap. Western Turkey is more urbanized and cosmopolitan, with a diverse population and a stronger influence of European culture. This has fostered a more liberal social environment, conducive to innovation and economic growth. Eastern Turkey, with its predominantly rural population, is characterized by strong tribal and traditional structures. While these can provide social cohesion and support, they may also hinder modernization and the adoption of new economic practices. Gender roles are often more rigid in the East, limiting women's participation in the workforce and public life. Recognizing the development gap, successive Turkish governments have implemented policies and programs aimed at reducing regional inequalities. These include investments in infrastructure, such as highways, railways, and airports to improve connectivity between the East and West. Special economic zones and incentives have been introduced to attract investment to Eastern Turkey. Education and healthcare initiatives, such as the construction of schools and hospitals and the provision of scholarships and subsidies, have also been prioritized. Programs like the Social Support Program aim to promote social inclusion and economic development in disadvantaged regions. Despite these efforts, progress has been slow and the gap remains significant. Geopolitical tensions and internal conflicts have further complicated development efforts in Eastern Turkey. The region's proximity to unstable borders and its history of ethnic and political tensions have often diverted resources away from development toward security. These challenges have discouraged investment and disrupted economic activities, perpetuating the cycle of underdevelopment. Addressing the development and welfare disparities between Eastern and Western Turkey requires a multifaceted approach. First, investment in infrastructure is needed for expanding transportation and communication networks. In the East is crucial for integrating the region into national and global markets. Second, educational reforms are needed for improving access to quality education, particularly in rural areas, and promoting gender equality in education can empower the younger generation and enhance human capital. Third, economic diversification is required for encouraging industries such as renewable energy, tourism, and technology in Eastern Turkey can reduce reliance on agriculture and create new employment opportunities. Fourth, healthcare improvements are needed for increasing funding for healthcare facilities and training. More medical professionals for deployment in the East can improve health outcomes and quality of life. Fifth, social inclusion is needed for addressing cultural and social barriers, promoting gender equality, and fostering community participation in development initiatives can enhance social cohesion and drive progress. Sixth, conflict resolution is a must for ensuring political stability, and addressing the root causes of ethnic and political tensions can create a conducive environment for development. The disparity between Eastern and Western Turkey is a multifaceted issue rooted in historical, geographical, economic, and social factors. While significant challenges remain, targeted policies and sustained efforts can help bridge the gap and foster equitable development. By leveraging its diverse resources and addressing regional inequalities, Turkey can build a more inclusive and prosperous future for all its citizens.